Hello and welcome to Debbie J's Crafting Corner. I'm Debbie and each week I show you how you can create awesome cards and other crafty projects. Because if I can make it, you can too. So if you'd like to see more tutorials and inspirational videos, be sure to subscribe to my channel and hit the little bell to be notified every time I upload a new video. Hi guys, welcome to the new season, new technique hop. We are sharing new to us techniques to celebrate the new season. We hope you find each project as inspiring as the next. At the top of the description box, you'll find a link to the next person in the lineup. I hope you take time to watch all of the hop videos because we love your comments and thumbs up. You can also use hashtag #NewSeasonMakes to find all of the videos in this hop. Some of us might be offering prizes on our channel, so please be sure to pay close attention for details. So I did some binge watching on YouTube to see what do I want to try next, because you guys know I try to use what I've got, number one, and I try to also try new things with basically everything I've got. So what I'm going to attempt, and this is going to be basically my second attempt on this, is I'm going to attempt to do Joseph's coat. So what I'm going to start off with is putting a bright multicolored background together using some distress inks and some blenders, and I'm just going to go ahead and put that together real quick for you guys. So I'm going to just start off with picked raspberry, just put a little of that down. I have no idea what kind of layout I'm going to do this time. Come in with some spiced marmalade. And then I'm going to come in with some mustard seed. I really like how bright and vibrant this color is. And then I've got some cracked pistachio. And now this is peacock feathers, I think. Yes, peacock feathers for the blue. And I am doing some overlap of the colors so they can blend together nicely. And then I think I'm going to bring in some more of the picked raspberry. I don't really have enough of that pinkish color down. And I believe that with Joseph's coats, you're really basically supposed to just put colors all over the place. It's kind of look like a tie-dye to me. And I think I'll go back in with some more of the mustard seed. Basically deepen up some of those areas that are still showing a little bit of white through. And that looks pretty cool. And then next what I'm going to do is I'm going to just let this dry for a bit. So the panel has had plenty of time to dry, and now I'm going to do some stamping and some heat embossing on this. And I decided to do some pretty butterflies. This set is from Holtz. It is the watercolor butterfly stamp and stencil set, and I think the stencil would look really great over that too, and I will probably do a card like that later on. But for this one, let me go ahead and just position my panel in here, and I'm going to line it up with the marks on my DIY sticky grid. If you want to see how I made that, I'll leave a link up here for you. But let me go ahead and just position some of these butterflies. So this set has 3 butterflies, so what I think I'm going to do is basically stamp a couple of times because I want this to be pretty much covered. And I'm bringing in my Wow embossing pad. And I do see that there is some ink on there, plenty of it, but I'm going to go ahead and put a second layer just to be on the safe side. And because I don't want to heat emboss over what I've already heat embossed, I'm going to go ahead and add the embossing powder and heat that up. I'm using some Wow Clear Gloss embossing powder for this. Off screen, I stamped and embossed the rest of those butterflies on the panel. And now what we're going to do is we're going to come and we're going to bring in some black ink. I've seen it done with a couple of other colors, but black seems to be the way to start off, so I'm going to go ahead and start off with that this time, and I may experiment with some of the other techniques later. And I decided to use black soot Distress Oxide because it is an oxide ink and it will sit on top of the paper, and I think it's going to actually do a better job of covering up that other ink. So let me go ahead and do that. I did try it with the regular Distress ink, and I didn't really like the way that it looked. So I came back in with some Distress Oxide on top of it, and it seemed to look a little bit better. You can already see, first off, I did mess up a little bit on the embossing, but that's okay. That just makes it look more handmade. But you can see that you can kind of see the color coming through behind that ink where the embossing is resisting the black soot. And this is pretty much where the magic happens. And because I'm using the oxide, it is settling on top of that other ink, and it is getting a really dark, rich black color over the top. I'm going to grab a post-it note real quick because my hands are getting in the ink. I know that's not a big deal, but I really don't want my fingers all inky if I can avoid it. This is also looking a little dingy compared to those bright colors that we had before, but we should be able to take care of that. Like I said, this Distress Oxide ink is settling on top of all of the panel, including on top of those images. So I'm going to take a microfiber cloth and just buff some of that away. And now you can see that bright and vibrant butterfly starting to show through. And it looks really good over the areas that we did with the yellow because it is just so bright. But I could not resist the pinks and the blues along with the yellows. But this is looking pretty nice. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to set this aside so that the oxide has had a chance to dry. Next I'm going to cut out part of this. This frame die is right at 5 inches by 3 3/4, so that'll leave a decent size white space around it, and that'll also make sure that it's perfectly rectangular so the corners are all squared. So to do this die cutting, I'm going to be using my Gemini Junior. So I've got the sandwich that I've been using lately and I'm finding is working really, really well is a Sizzix plate. Then my Magic Mat, I absolutely love this, and they are back in stock finally. If you want to see how I've been using the Magic Mat in both my Gemini Junior and in my Sizzix machine, I'll leave a link to those videos for you as well. So now I can basically place my warped card panel down, and I'm going to do it this direction, I think. And it really doesn't matter where I place this. I can place it at any angle because those butterflies are so, it's basically just a nice little pattern there. And I think I am going to slide it a little bit off to that side because this has got more blank space. And then I'm going to place a flat cutting pad on top of it. Now this is one that I have flattened out myself, and I will have a video coming up soon as to how I did that. It's one of those techniques. Use at your own caution, use at your own risk, because it may or may not work for you. But so far it's working for me. And like I said, I will have full instructions on that coming soon as well. So now I've got that pretty little panel. Get rid of the excess. Okay, so let me go ahead and place this one back in there where I want it. And I am going to still use that same clear embossing powder for this, but for this panel, because we've got the bright colors and the black, I want the sentiment to be white. So I'm going to bring back out my Hero Arts Unicorn White ink and see what we can do with that sentiment. Hoping that this turns out good. It's a little light there, which makes me think maybe I need to go over this with white embossing powder instead of the clear. Still not quite bright enough. I'm gonna go one more time. And while that ink is sitting, let me grab my white embossing powder. I think I've got some from WOW. Actually, what I've got from WOW, and the reason I'm wanting to go leaning towards going with some WOW embossing powder is that I did not use my anti-static tool, meaning that the embossing powder is going to probably catch everywhere that I don't want it to. I do, however, have some gold glitter and some silver glitter. These are the gold and silver sparkle embossing powders, and one of those would probably work pretty nice on here. And let's see what it's going to look like with that gold embossing powder. You guys have said that you like seeing me mess up and seeing how I fix things. So it looks like there is a little bit of gold where I don't want it, but not much. And I just dropped it off of part of the sentiment there. There we go. To prevent the glitter from flaking off, flying away, I went ahead and just heated it up from behind the panel instead of from on top. Okay, so that is kind of a busy panel, but I think that looks kind of interesting. Since I added that gold embossing on there, I decided I wanted to use some gold paper behind it, so I'm going to go ahead and cut out a couple of frames on that. I also don't want to use up the entire sheet and waste the inner portion, so I'm going to basically cut a frame out and cut the inside part of it out as well, and then I can just use that little frame to go around my other image. So I'm using the next two dies in that same Hero Arts Nesting rectangle die infinity die set. The one that is larger and the one that is smaller than the one that I used to cut out the main panels. And I'm trying to position them about even. Part of it's going to be under the panel, so it won't really matter all that much, but I do want to try to not waste any more of that gold glitter paper than I need to. And I'm not sure where I got these panels from. They're probably either something that I got in a craft kit a while back, or they got them from Michael's. This is usually where I get those. So this cut out just perfectly fine. So I've got this big panel that I can use later, and then I've got this one that will go perfectly right around my panel there on a card base. For my card bases, I'm using half sheets of 8.5 by 11 cardstock. This is heavyweight cardstock from Michael's in white. This is 110 pound 300 GSM, and then I'm going to be scoring at 4 1/4. And then I flip it over so that the score is going to be on the outside, and then just fold it in half and burnish it down. think what I'm going to start with is adhering the frames down so I can get that nice white border at about where I want it. And then I'll put my main panel down. So I've got my dot liner adhesive. And I am going to do it kind of like what I do with washi tape, where I hold it both ends and try to get that position about right. And then do the sides. It looks like I am a little bit off, but again, I'm able to reposition it. There we go. And now I need to adhere the black panel down. If I had to do it over again, I think I would have used white embossing for the sentiment on this one, because I think that would have popped a little bit more, but I still think it turned out really, really pretty. Both of the cards did. So that is going to finish up this video for today. Thank you guys so much for dropping in, and be sure to check out all the other videos on the hop, because I know they will all have, the other creators will have a lot of inspirational projects for you to see. Here are a couple more videos that I know that you will enjoy. Thank you again for dropping in, and remember, if I can make it, you can too.